Thanks everyone for tuning in. Welcome to Lessonface Presents. Tonight we have the honor of bringing in to our studio the cellist and composer Rebecca Foon.
Yeah.
Cellist and composer Rebecca Foon from Asmarine, Set Fire to the Flames, and her solo project Southland has been a fixture of the Montreal and New York City music communities for 2 decades. Alongside a dozen albums as a composer and player, Rebecca has also a long list of guest credits for recording and performing. Saltland is Rebecca Foon's solo project. The first album featured a long list of friends and past collaborators, while on the second album, Rebecca set out to create a more rigorous solo work, using her cello as the predominant source for almost all the music and sounds on the record. Rebecca is our guest for the first episode of the 2019 season of Lessonface Presents. Lessonface Presents are open conversations with accomplished artists, which we broadcast live from the Lessonface studio in New York City. Tonight, Rebecca will be interviewed by Lessonface's CEO and co-founder, Claire Cunningham. Off to you, Claire.
Great, thank you, Flavio. Hi, and welcome to Lessonface Presents. Thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca.
Well, thank you.
That was gorgeous, what you just played. Could we start by you talking about your process for composing that? And
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, so that song, it's called Inner City Angels, and it's from my first Saltland album. And that was when I've been in bands playing music for like 20 years, and then I decided at a certain point to try and be courageous and jump into new territory and start singing. And I had never sung really before, except for in my old band Silver Mount Zion as like backup vocals. And so I had no idea what my voice sounded like. And I had no idea how to do it. I just knew I needed for myself to sing and sing about issues that I care about. And so I started to build loops with the cello as a platform to be able to sing. And so that's one of the first songs I ever wrote. And that song, it's actually dedicated, my mom has a charity organization that she runs in Toronto called Inner City Angels.
Oh, wow.
And it works with inner city youth. It brings artists into inner city schools in Toronto. And I've always been so moved by the kids there. And so it's a bit of a dedication and love to that organization. But yeah, that's how I started, was beginning to build loops with the cello and then singing on top of it. And then my second album is called A Common Truth, and that album is very much about climate change and the state of our world and the role of cities with climate change. And yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's incredible. So when did you start with the cello?
I started when I was 8. And I don't come from a musical family. Like now my sister is extremely musical, but when I was the firstborn and my parents knew nothing about music. But I was very lucky because my elementary school, it was a public elementary school in Canada, in Vancouver, and they had a string program.
Oh,
and
wow.
I fell in love with the cello at like 6 years old, watching these kids play the cello in the string ensemble. And that's how I was able to start playing. So I'm a total advocate for music in schools.
That's great, yeah. Yeah, so you had been playing the cello for quite a while and then added on voice. It seems incredibly brave to...
Yeah, I guess I needed it spiritually or something. I needed to dive into a different realm and express myself in a new way.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it's such a beautiful song and album.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit more about Rebecca. She is the founder of Juno Award-winning group Asmarine, and you've also produced multiple acclaimed albums with Saltland, which is what you just played from. You're co-founder of Jungle Keepers, Pathway to Paris, Moto Yoga in New York City, and Montreal-based Sustainability Solutions Group. It's amazing, your background. How do you balance your time? Like, how do you
Well, I guess life is short and long, so they're all projects that have. I'm blessed by these projects because they've all developed over time and at different points of time in my life, and with beautiful partnerships that I'm so grateful for, like-minded people that I really care about, and none of these could have happened without them. So I've been blessed with stars aligning and multiple beautiful visions coming together to create things. And so for all these different projects, they're very much love projects for me, and they all fuel each other in different ways, and they all inspire each other. They're all linked together for me, and keep me really inspired in life, get me out of bed in the morning. So, but yeah, in terms of balancing them, my time kind of has evolved in different ways every year. It's a bit different, and there's lots of people involved in them now, so they have a life of their own.
That's amazing that you can start them and then
it's incredible.
Move on to so what are you working on for the most part currently?
So right now, I co-founded Pathway to Paris with a wonderful friend of mine, Jessie Paris-Smith, and we've been putting on concert events all over the world since 2014, all related to turning the Paris Agreement into reality. That's why it's called Pathway to Paris.
Yeah.
And so that's been very busy over the last few years, and this year is a big year for countries of the world coming together to look at the targets in the Paris Agreement. So we'll be busy this year doing things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you guys? So what are you working on exactly?
Well, we're always working on different concert events, and we have an initiative called the 1,000 Cities Initiative for Carbon Freedom.
I signed the petition today.
Yay! Amazing. Yeah. So
there's a petition.
There's a petition. care2.com/1,000 cities, but the idea behind 1,000 cities is. So Pathway to Paris is very deeply concerned, and this relates to music. We really care about highlighting the importance of innovative solutions to turning the Paris Agreement into reality and meeting those targets and going above and beyond those targets so that we can continue as a planet for future generations and be a sustainable planet, hopefully one day. And so, the idea behind the concert events are there to stimulate awareness around the Paris Agreement and the importance of turning it into reality, as well as offering solutions. And one of our solutions is the 1,000 Cities initiative, which is based on the idea that if 1,000 cities around the world can come together and all mandate within their climate action planning and target 100% renewable energy and zero emissions, so no longer using fossil fuels by 2040, then we can turn the Paris Agreement into action. And so it's pretty cool to imagine a world at that time, like in 2040. It's cool to make our brains evolve in that way, to start imagining and dreaming up a world that's no longer using fossil fuels.
Right, yeah, 21 years.
Yeah. So I think music is a really powerful tool to inspire and also to sing about critical issues of our time.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that is a brilliant segue into what I wanted to ask you about. Lessonface is a music education community. So most of our audience, all of our audience, I should say, are musicians, music teachers, music students, and some who are, a mix of those things. So how would you recommend that musicians who have an audience or those who are just kind of starting, like what are the ways, do you think the voice of the music is the most powerful way? Are there other ways that musicians should be acting in order to promote more sustainability? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I really do believe more and more that this is our time to act. whatever it is that we're passionate about, and if we're blessed in this life to really find our passion and live our passion, and if music is that for you, that this is our time to truly walk into the space of making a positive contribution for all, and to move in that and to channel that through music. So however that means for you, but we are definitely in a critical time in the world in terms of our looking at our own extinction in the face, and it's not too late. Like, we have this window, this 10, 12-year window of really making critical shifts. So if you think about it, we've got this short amount of time in our lifetime to live or die, like, as a planet. It's like, it's incredible, like terrifying and incredible. And so I really do think every human on Earth is like, it's our duty to do whatever we can to make a positive contribution.
Yeah.
And all those little contributions, if that, it's that intention, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
More than because measuring impact can be so confusing because it's such a wacky time, but working with that intention, I think, is really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I saw I think it was on the Pathway to Paris site that y'all urge, so for the 1,000 Cities Initiative especially, it seemed like you're urging people to urge their local politicians to join on. And I saw that you had a bunch of cities that you had like examinations of what they're doing, and New York City was not on the list. Or is New York City, are we on?
New York is
okay.
Yeah, it's a flagship city for sure, and is doing amazing work, and is just starting to do incredible work, like to build off the incredible work that it's already been doing. But the 1,000 Cities Initiative is a new initiative, so it's still taking shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad for that. And I should mention that if anybody has questions for Rebecca, just enter them in on the YouTube channel, and we'll relay them. So yeah, I was wondering, and I think I love what you say about the intentions being the most essential part of making this critical moment, making the right actions in this critical moment. But I was wondering, like, if there are things, like, I was thinking about things that might be music specific, like where you get your merch, or like how you lay out your tour, or like
absolutely.
Anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like merch, definitely working with local artists, and if you can work it into buy organic, fair trade, made in North America merch. It's always amazing, and measuring your overall impact is always something we should all be doing all the time.
Right.
In terms of, because touring is so high impact.
Yeah.
But I do also think beyond just like behavioral changes, I guess for me, I am definitely entering a spiritual realm for myself with music. And I really do believe that music is a chance to channel something from ourselves that's linked to something that we're all linked to, whatever you want to call that interconnection. And it comes back to that intention, I think, of the intention of caring about all beings on Earth and caring about our planet, and then also being an open vessel to make music, and connecting that is really, really beautiful. And I think I really do feel more and more that tapping into that is like where it all begins, and where peace on Earth can come from.
So how would you recommend, like, somebody who's just getting into the practice of music, or maybe just into the practice of being more intentional about that sort of like thought, how should they tap into
to that channel or that flow? Well, I can tell you some trick. Like, I think it's a lifelong journey of trying to tap into the ocean of ideas in a way where you are free to dive into it. But I do think meditation is very, very helpful. I really do feel that, say, the ocean of ideas inside of us that we all have, that creative space that we all have, musicians, artists, or anybody, we're all creative beings, that I think that ego and insecurity and all the wacky emotions we feel in life can be seen almost as noise pollution in our channel, and that the more we can kind of live a stress-free, like work with the intention and try to cultivate a stress-free, anxiety-free life, the more we are able to access like really rich parts of ourselves. And I think that's really, really beautiful. And so I do think meditation or any kind of techniques that help you kind of almost like turn off a switch so that you can access, so you're not thinking too much and also finding a peaceful place within yourself to tap into ideas, almost in that like where consciousness and subconsciousness kind of come together or something. But yeah, so I do very much, meditation is a big part of my life, so I think it's really helped me in terms of growing as an artist and finding the confidence to try new things and dive into new ideas. And
how long have you been meditating?
You know, not that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've dabbled with it for years, but probably only a year of serious meditation. And I guess that's why I bring it up, because I've noticed it's just had a huge impact on my life.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, I know there's some like apps that people are really into for meditation. Do you use one of those? Or
Yeah, I don't, but I know lots of people that do and swear by them.
Yeah.
So
serious meditation, like what are we talking time-wise?
Oh, the thing about meditation, you know, it's such a weird, yeah. But I do think the thing about meditation is you can integrate it into your day, you know, like you can meditate in the morning and night for 20 minutes or whatever, but then also when you're in a car or the subway or walking down the street or doing exercise, any type of exercise, or even when you're having a conversation, you can like integrate the same kind of, I don't know, sense of peace into every moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you've been doing it for just a year. That's inspiring, because yeah, I feel kind of intimidated about trying meditation myself.
Right. I think if you just go for it, then you can start to find your own personal benefits of it. But the reason why I just bring it up is I do think that trying to cultivate a stress-free life helps so much with the artistic practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a challenge to do that.
It is, especially today's world.
Is there anything beyond meditation that you found helps with stress?
Yeah, well, just being healthy, I guess, in general, like exercising and trying to get a good night's sleep and all of the basics.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you've said a lot about you stay inspired by working on new projects and working on these projects that you're very passionate about.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people like really tapping into finding their own passion, or how should they experiment with things? Have you tried things that didn't work? Oh
yeah, I really do feel like life is about curiosity and awakening the heart. Like I truly do think, it sounds so wild, but that we're here within this like little amount of time on planet Earth together, and the only real thing is to be curious and open-hearted and kind to each other and have a good time. And so I think in terms of like cultivating your passion, I think if you take the curious mind approach and not worry too much about, like, try not to get swallowed up by any plan, too much of a plan. It's good to have a little bit of a plan, but like with insecure, or swallowed up in doubt, self-doubt or insecurities or whatever it is, or overconfidence or whatever it is, like just to look from almost like a third eye perspective all the time, and a curious perspective, and see what magic comes your way. You know, like I think just life is so cool. Being alive is so cool.
Yeah. What do you mean by a third eye perspective?
I just think that with, I guess, more and more, I feel like all the beautiful things that I've tapped into with my passions, it was like falling in love, you know? It's like with the cello, I fell in love with the cello, and then I fell in love with singing, or I fell in love with playing piano, or I'm not necessarily great at it. I'm not good at piano at all, but I fell in love with it. Or I fell in love with conservation project in the Amazon, or I fell in love with working with Jessie with Pathway to Paris and organizing these concert events and like it's just like these things that really excite me. But it wasn't like I don't know, it just kind of organically came through that. It's just like being on the path, and then these things kind of come your way, I guess.
Yeah, and you're open
to it.
them.
Yeah, being open to it.
That's really awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Are you let's see, we have a question. What practice exercise would you recommend to improve your training?
Oh, that's a great question. It's funny, my sister is a classical violinist, an incredible classical violinist, and her ear training is really good. We were talking about perfect pitch, and because I was like, does perfect pitch really exist? And she said, no, perfect pitch doesn't exist. It's just relative pitch, but some people's relative pitch is almost perfect. And I was like, oh, really? So you're not just, because I thought you could be born with perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Maybe you can. This might be a contentious question, but but I do like the idea that you can kind of train your ear to be almost perfect, even if you're not born with perfect pitch, if that is a thing. So for example, my sister has she basically has perfect pitch, and she says it's from training. And I do not have perfect pitch at all. And so we were working together, and this is what I just like doing it with her, where it's just make it fun, you know, and just play. She'll just sing a note, and then I'll have to guess what note it is. And we'll just have fun, like on the couch. And she'll just like sing a bunch of different notes. I'll be like, A, no. And then be like, no, here, listen, this is what an A is. And then 20 minutes go by. It's good with a partner, basically. Yeah. And it's a fun way to improve your ear.
Yeah, so find someone with perfect pitch.
Not necessarily, just have a keyboard, but you can't hear the note. Or you can use the keyboard instead of singing it. But just to have someone who can kind of have the driver's seat and quiz you.
Right.
Until you get it into your head. I just think it's, like if I did that every day, I bet I would be closer to perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Over time.
Okay, we have another from Santi Solano. How difficult is it to be a musician in 2019?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think that question is so different for everybody. But for me, it's very much based on where I am right now at this time. And for me, music is a spiritual practice. Like it's very much a place where I open my heart and like awaken my heart and try to like dive into a different realm. Like I really try to go somewhere else when I play. So because I work that's very important to me, and it's part of my falling in love with music is that space where you can kind of go somewhere else. Because the world is so insane right now, music is kind of saving me. if that makes sense. So in terms of how difficult it is to be a musician, in a way, it's almost like looking at it from the opposite perspective. Like for me, I need music more than anything right now.
Right, how difficult would it be
To not be a musician? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, well, I'm very glad that you have music.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
Are you a New Year's resolutions person?
A little bit, yeah.
Do you have one that you would share? Or
well, I guess it's a bit personal, but
yeah.
with music. Last year was I have always, for the last 20 years, been making albums, and every year working on an album. And last year, for some reason, I had my very first year, and this is where the meditation thing came in, where I just couldn't play music. It was really weird. Like I couldn't play the way I used to. I just was completely, like my drive died. Because I'm a pretty like driven, passionate person, and last year I was just not able to produce. And so, but I meditated a lot. And then this year, luckily it came back, and it came back a lot. And that's why I talk so much about the meditation, because I was really I'm able to access new places in myself that I have never been able to access before, which is really exciting for me. And so this year, my New Year's resolution is to I'm working on a new album, and a couple other albums with friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's very excellent. And I just want to quickly plug, Lessonface has a giveaway related to goals, which is meant to go along with New Year's resolutions. So if you're interested in lessons in the new year, go to lessonface.com. There's an article about it right on our homepage. And I'd encourage you to enter our giveaway. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for coming in and talking to us. I think your path has been incredibly cool. You're doing such amazing work, and I'm very excited to see where you go next with it.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have anything else that you feel like advice for aspiring musicians, aspiring music teachers, actual music teachers and musicians?
Yeah, I think just to dive in and not be, really be courageous. I think being courageous is, and as a teacher to help your students be courageous and dive in and find their passion and find themselves, is what life's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'd love to hear some more songs.
Okay, great. Well, I have one more.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, so I think we'll just move back over to the other side of the room here.
Okay, great.
Cool.
And while we set the stage for Rebecca to perform, I'd like to talk a bit about Lessonface. Claire already mentioned some of what we do. I'd like to complement that. We're an online music school where great teachers and students can connect for live online music lessons. If you're interested in learning any instrument or to sing, you can do it from your home and be assured that you're meeting with a qualified instructor that has passed our high standards approval process. And if you are a music teacher, we'd love to hear from you and welcome you to meet our platform and all the features we offer to your teaching studio. Rebecca's almost ready now, so let's get it going.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you. Very good.
Thanks for watching. This was Lessonface Presents. We have a new episode coming up on next Wednesday. We have Wolf Eyes. So stay tuned. If you want more information, you can visit lessonface.com/presents. We'll have the link in the chat below. Make sure to sign up. You can watch the recording of this interview and performance later. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.